I was, 17, 18 at the time, writing a song about a girl, really cutting edge stuff. And they were just simple. I think the weirdest chord I used was like a D major 7 or something, so it was pretty straightforward.
It was later on when we started presenting the song to Ben and trying to think of where it's going to end and how the song's going to progress, was when I started improvising some kind of instrumental chords that were in a relative key of B minor, B Dorian, and that's when Max began soloing over it and also adding some melodies earlier in the song over it.
When it comes to the way we write, it's always been like, whenever we're on our own, we'll be practicing our instruments and we'll come up with something. When it comes to the way we put those pieces together is when it comes down to practicing, we'll just start jamming or something like that. We'll just start improvising. And we'll say, that sounds really cool right there, and like, oh, I came up with this, and like, remember that, let's throw it into the song somewhere, let's write off of it, and then these guys come in with all of their theory and whatnot, and figure out how to expand upon it and go into like another chapter within the song. That's, basically the way we write. I guess you could say. You could say it's progressive or whatnot, but at the same time, the word progressive can mean so many things.
Progressive, I think, tends to be a loaded term with a lot of people. Like, I think oftentimes be shorthand for, bloated and boring. We just like to have people think that we make music and leave it at that.
I had this other riff that's sort of like dun 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 dun. We start off doing some trade-offs with it, and that was hard for Max and I to get used to because we're used to always playing in unison. And I remember the first couple of times we even performed it, we always forgot who went first.
There'd be like some awkward moments there where like, it would be like really intense. Mike would be like hitting the keyboard, and then it would just stop because we're kind of like looking around at each other. Whose turn is it to play?
Yeah. It's sort of like a Matzah Cigar version of a breakdown.
Yeah, definitely. The prog down or something, I don't know.
I think the last thing that we added to the instrumental was the section with the double bass that goes like. Before that, every time we played it, it was a little bit different because we just sort of meandered to what we knew was the end, and sometimes there'd be like 4 measures, sometimes there'd be like 16 measures. We're just kind of trying to like, figure our way out. Like, we know we're here, we want to get here, we got to do something in between there. What we hope to do sometimes with songs that have a pretty straightforward progression for the verses and choruses, and then a big instrumental section in the middle, is kind of lure them in, and they say, oh, all right, I can follow this, and then by the time the instrumental section kicks in, they're I hopefully gain their attention, and they're willing to go on a journey with us.
When it comes to the instrumental of Counted Sheep, it shows what we can do as musicians who really want to just make our music stand out or just be different.
Yeah, it's kind of like a transformer almost, because you give, like, think of it this way, like you give a little kid like a bear or something, right? And then it can turn into a forklift. Like, it's like a bear, it's like a pretty accessible toy. Like, all right, I like to play with this, and then you like flip something, and then it turns into like a, maybe a less accessible toy. But just the fact that it morphed like that is pretty engaging, I think. And I think that's what we hope to do in audiences.
when you're sitting there watching what's going on musically, like during our instrumentals, I think of it as like kind of an eye-opener to people, something they're not used to seeing. So hopefully it would make people think musically and kind of inspire them.